Welcome to the Ages of Rock podcast with your hosts Bill Algie, Dennis Talbot, and Alan Tate. We are three guys who have one thing in common, a love of rock and roll. Our goal is to talk about all things rock. We hope you find this show intriguing, funny, and occasionally highly opinionated. Enjoy! Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of the Ages of Rock podcast. This is episode number 173. This week we have Andrew Sgambati on, and he will be talking about Kiss at Midnight, his upcoming fan film. But before that, Dennis, Bill, and myself are going to talk some of our usual shenanigans.
I love shenanigans.
Shenanigans, tomfoolery, and skullduggery.
Shenanigans.
I've heard a different word used, but we'll go with that.
It's kind of like Shania Twain.
What?
That's her cousin. Shania. It's her cousin.
Shania Twagans.
Anyway.
Wow.
All right, bad joke. I regress. I'm working with a tooth infection this week, so I'm on antibiotics and hurting quite a bit right now. So I'm not my jolly.
We're quite the trio
he's
here.
The same as always.
You got your jollies. What? All I heard was them say, "Oh, yeah, jollies."
Oh, my jaw hurts.
So next
he
week,
said he's not him. He said he is not his jolly self. And I can't.
So next week, Alan, you have to have an ailment next week.
I have to have a helmet.
No, an ailment.
Oh, I thought you said ailment.
You might need a helmet too. You might need a helmet. I don't know. Depends on what happens next week.
Good Lord.
Depends on what Laura's going to do to you. Helmet.
Good.
Hit you with a baking pan or something.
Yeah, no good. Ow.
Oh man, what day is this? It's Tuesday. Tuesday when we're recording, right? Yeah.
It is Tuesday the something.
It is.
And then in a couple of days,
June
it'll be something
18th.
else when it comes out. There you go.
And then
I don't know. What do you guys got? I don't know. I don't really have anything today. I got there's no really big news, I don't think.
I've got a little bit of news. It's kind of
cool,
sad
man.
news, but I think it's going to turn out okay. Dave Mustaine has reported that he has been diagnosed with throat cancer. While he says it's something to be respected and feared, or respected and faced head on, he's faced obstacles before, and he's working closely with his doctors. They've mapped out a treatment plan which they feel has a 90% success rate. In the meantime, that means Megadeth is canceling 2019 shows. However, the Megadeth cruise, the Mega Cruise, the band will be a part of it in some form, and all the updates will be available at Megadeth.com. And he says, meanwhile, Kiko, David, Dirk, and I are in the studio working on a follow-up to Dystopia, which I can't wait for everyone to hear. So, y'all keep Dave in your thoughts, whether you like the guy or whether you think he's a jerk. You know, cancer is no laughing matter. So,
not at all.
You know, best wishes to Dave on a quick recovery and get back out on the road and sing us some Symphony for Destruction.
Exactly. Yeah, I saw that too this week. It's pretty.
Yeah.
I hate hearing stuff
well,
like that.
by the time this episode comes out, everybody already knows about it. But
that's true. That's true.
Yeah. That's all right. We can say that we're trying to be nice guys.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we are nice guys. I like Megadeth.
Yeah.
I had to ask if he was the lead singer. I'll admit it. I've listened to a few songs and have not been overly. It's just not my stuff. It's okay.
There's nothing wrong with not being a fan. I mean,
yeah.
I'm not a big fan of the Misfits or Glenn Danzig, but hey.
Well, I understand that.
Yeah.
All right, what else we got?
Did you get any new records this week? I didn't get any. I was going to go Sunday, and it was Father's Day.
I have 4.
Cool.
I have finally busted out and got Busted Out by Pure Prairie League, which, by the way, is a really good record, and this record is in great shape.
I've seen that at the.
I followed your lead and got Rick Springfield because.
Good job.
Who doesn't need that?
That is. Looks good.
I finally found Robbie Neville, some 80s pop stuff that's.
Right.
I like to see. This album's really good.
C'est la vie.
And Yeah, C'est La Vie. I love that song. You like that song?
Oh, yes.
That comes on. It's like, it like gets you going.
That song, and there's another song that I can never remember the name of, but he had, a second, not quite as big
second hit off the
hit.
second. Yeah, off the second album. Yeah. And then I bought this.
Gotta go back. Oh, like a prayer. Huh. Cool.
Which is really a pretty good record. It's got like Prayer, Express Yourself, and it's in really, really pristine good shape. So pretty happy with those. I bought some different stuff this time. I walked around. I had Billy Idol's Rebel Yell, walked around with it for a while and went, nah.
Right. So where did you get those at? Up at Indy?
No, I got them at the Exit 76 Antique Mall.
Oh, that one down by your house?
Yeah.
Or Edinburgh?
Right,
yeah.
Edinburgh.
So before anybody gives me a hard time, the other Robbie Neville song was "What's It to You."
Oh, that's on this record then.
Yeah.
Yep, that's on this. That's
Do they have quite a few? I know that place is huge there in Edinburgh.
Oh, they've got
They got a lot of record places in there. I mean, a lot of different.
7.
Oh, really cool.
6, 7, something like that. Some of them are overpriced. This one guy's got stuff that you can get for $4 at one booth for like 15. I'm like, dude, do you not do any research at all?
Speaking of going record shopping, I went to Coconuts. My mother and my nephews were up from Texas last week, and my mom wanted to go look for a particular artist, so I took her to Coconuts, and she looked through all of the country DVDs, all of the country CDs. My nephews looked through all of the records, all of the CDs, all the DVD. I was bored out of my fucking mind. I hate going to the record store.
Coconuts. You should have went to you should have had them drop you off at the bar.
B-Dubs I was the one driving.
Should have dropped them off and went to the bar.
B-Dubs is walking distance. You go down there and have you some wings and a beer. And
as long as they were there, I could have had wings, beer, got drunk, and sobered up, and then took them home.
Yeah, I've been in Coconuts a few times. They're really expensive on their stuff. And I don't know. I just not really. Their used stuff is almost expensive as their new stuff. So.
Well, what's funny is my mom was kind of thumbing through the vinyl, and she was like, "Do they have any Journey?" And of course, I found the Journey's Greatest Hits, and it was like $40.
Oh my God!
It was a double record set, because there's almost. Still. I think there's 16 or 18 songs on that.
Yeah, I have that.
She was like, "Well, if it's a double record, it's almost worth it." I'm like, "No, it's not." I have Spotify.
They're proud of their
Actually, yeah, at Target last night, I saw there's a new greatest hits record that they put out for the Rolling Stones called Rocks.
Right.
I think that's what it's called, a rock or whatever. They had the vinyl. It's a blue vinyl or light blue vinyl or whatever. It was $35.
Wow.
I'm like, no.
No, that's expensive.
No, $35 for the vinyl or $10 for the CD or free on Apple iTunes.
Right. Hey, I did play that 45 Foo Fighters album.
Yeah, und?
It sounds good. But I don't think there's an amazing difference from the 33 and a third to the 45.
Oh, the quality.
Yeah, I mean, it was good quality no matter what, but it's just, I can't hear it.
Well, you should have, since they were big records, you should have played them at 33 just to see how they sounded.
Yeah.
Slow.
That'd have been really smart.
Well,
I
make that joke. There is on YouTube the song Jolene by Dolly Parton. Someone took a 45 and played it at 33 speed, and it still sounds good at that speed, but it sounds really haunting.
Yeah.
So take your 45s and play them at 33 and see if you find any more haunting sounds, and send us an email, contact@agesofrock.com. Let us know how it sounds.
I don't even know where my 45s are. I've got a box of them somewhere.
I got a whole bunch of them underneath the cabinet.
Where they're at. Oh, do you?
Oh, yeah. Like 2 stacks like this. Well, you can't see the bottom hand. Just tall. We'll just go with that. Like a lot of them.
Cool. That is cool.
Probably 100 or so. My sister told me yesterday she's got a Kiss record in her jukebox.
Really?
And I'm like, you need to take that out and send it to your brother.
She's got a jukebox?
She has a jukebox.
Cool. I always wanted one. I've toyed around with it a few times.
Where would you put a jukebox?
I had it about my garage. That's where I had my my pinball machine. It would be out in the garage, but I still don't really have any room for it either. You can't find them.
What are you going to do with the swing?
What's the swing? Oh, I don't have a swing. My garage is so full of shit right now. We got all the band shit in it right now against the wall. It's a mess. I can't even get in and out of there. So anyway, that's the I didn't go record shopping. Like I said, it was Father's Day, and the time I got home from Father's Day, I felt like crap, and that's when this whole thing has been hitting me, and I'm just not. It's like I don't want to go to Trader Baker's today. I'm just going to stay home and sleep, and that's when I ended up grilling. But it was hot and miserable. So anyway, but no, I didn't get anything this week, and really don't have a whole lot of anything going on. Nothing.
No, there's not really a bunch going on in the music world either. Nothing new that I saw. I've been looking around.
I did see there was something that keeps popping on my phone. There was one of these 80s cruises. And
yeah, it looks kind of cool.
It looks pretty cool. I mean, it's got B-52s, Loverboy, Scandal with Patty Smythe, and then what's the other one? God damn it, Berlin.
Laura was telling me about that. There were several acts on there there were more acts on there I don't want to see than there were acts that I would like to see.
And that's just the big headliners, and I'm sure there's a ton of other people. But I one of these days I'm going to toy around and go on one of these cruises. But it keeps it's one of those things it pops up on my phone every time I pull it up, it pulls up. It's trying to get me to go.
It's subliminal.
It is. Like one of these days, I'm going to go on a cruise.
It's actually not so
I'd like
subliminal.
to go on the rock cruise.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
Monsters of Rock cruise, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of cruises, the Kiss Cruise 6-man people have announced that they're doing theme nights since it's the week of Halloween. There's going to be a Demon Night, Star Child Night, Spaceman, and Catman Night. And then Halloween night, I guess, is dress how you want. I was going to walk around with a sock on.
Red Hot Chili Pepper night?
That's a Red Hot Chili.
Well, it's going to be on my left foot, so I'm going to find out what cruise ship jail's like.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, your roommates will be happy about that.
Yeah. Honestly, I bet I don't see my roommates except for,
when they're trying to smother you.
Go to the cabin and get out of the cabin.
They're trying to stuff a sock in your mouth.
Why does he keep farting in his sleep? I'm not asleep, y'all.
Not yet, but when I use this ethanol and or ether. I mean ether. If I use this ether and I stick it over your face, you'll be asleep.
That's funny.
He'll then be rolling them down around the outside of the boat, looking for a place to throw them off.
Well, so I was reading something on Kiss FAQ, and somebody said something about it was going to be required that everybody had to wear that Paul Stanley fanny pack on Star Child night. And I said, I refuse. I wonder if they're going to make me walk the plank.
I might.
That's funny.
All
right.
Anybody got anything else?
I got nothing, man.
All right, then. Before we talk to Andrew, here's a word from our sponsor.
Rockin' Pod is back. The annual celebration of rock returns to Nashville. This convention brings together the best rock stars, music podcasters, vinyl and memorabilia vendors, and rock fans from all corners of the globe. Special guests include Michael Sweet of Stryper, Brian Forsyth of Kix, Jason Beeler of Saigon Kick, Eerie Vaughn of Danzig, and members of Exodus, Roxy Blue, Every Mother's Nightmare, Kick Tracy, and more. Music podcasts from all over North America will be recording on-site all weekend. Special pre-party featuring the rock and roll residency, The Talisman, 8-Ball, and Lipstick Generation on Friday night. Rockin' Pod Expo on Saturday. Join us at the Nashville Airport Marriott August 9th and 10th for Rockin' Pod. Podcast registration and tickets and VIP packages available now at rockinpod.com.
Hey, Andrew, how you doing?
Good. Thanks so much for having me and having me back. I'm surprised you guys had me back after the last one. Kind of went in the tank.
It's a pity. No, kidding.
The hate mail we got was
I can only imagine.
Well, and I wasn't
on
here.
Thursday, we were getting text messages like, my phone was blowing up. I'm like, he's an all right guy. Relax.
We only did it because I wasn't here the first time. Remember, it was
right.
It was like a three. Right. You guys had a threesome. Now we're gonna do a foursome.
We're gonna take it. We're gonna go. We're gonna go the whole distance now, all the way, proctologist style.
Yeah.
That was a Gene Simmons move if I ever saw one.
It's like a glove.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we're really here for is you have a new fan film. Tell us what it's called and tell us about it.
Well, I have for those of you that don't know, I created a fan film last year called The Greatest Show on Earth, which was the 1977 Kiss movie that never happened. And just like all good things, it needed a sequel, so I decided to make the 1976 TV special that never happened called Kiss at Midnight. So we're here. I'm not sure when this is going to air, but we're here to talk about all things Kiss at Midnight, which is basically and what should have been the TV special that happened on TV in 1976.
Yeah, I don't understand why there were no TV specials.
No,
about them. I mean, everybody else seemed to have one, or a variety show, for God's sakes.
Yeah, I mean, you had all these movies, all these, documentaries, all this great stuff from David Bowie and Queen and even the Beatles in the 60s, Led Zeppelin, Alice Cooper. You had all these great bands that were doing lots of visual things, whether it be, in theaters or on TV, but there's never anything Kiss. I mean, Kiss got the Paul Lynde Halloween special, which I don't want to insult that or knock that because that was the reason why a lot of fans got into the band, and it was a great appearance, for everyone involved. It's very iconic for the 70s. But Kiss never had anything that kind of painted them as they saw themselves, which was larger than life characters. You had Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park in 76, but they were on a downward spiral at that point, and it was hokey, it wasn't cool. So there was never anything that painted Kiss as not only a musical force to be reckoned with, but something that was cool and relevant. And I never understood why. Bill Aucoin had this background in film and TV, never did anything. I don't know why.
Yeah,
for such a visual band, I was to this
the
day,
most visual.
I
band.
am so surprised that it was not more well documented in the 70s.
The start of The Greatest Show on Earth, it said, Kiss reached their visual peak in 1977. It was never properly documented until now.
That voice sounds familiar.
Other than the Paul Lynde special, The Hype and the Glory, was that a news show?
Yes, it was a news magazine show, kind of similar to what was the other one?
Entertainment Tonight or something?
Not Entertainment Tonight. There was another TV show, PM Magazine.
Okay.
It was similar to PM Magazine, but had a bigger budget. PM Magazine started as it was actually based out of here in Cleveland, and started out as kind of almost like a public access feel. But Land of Hype and Glory had the NBC money behind it because it had who was the guy that did all the interviews? I credited him in The Greatest Show on Earth too. I can't remember his name, but Land of Hype and Glory had money behind it.
So that was actually, but that was before the movie came out, right? That was
before Phantom.
Yeah, before Phantom.
Absolutely.
So like I said, that was right. That was the first time that I actually saw that. When I saw the Paul Lynde, and then I saw The Hype and Glory, and that was only the second time that I ever saw, because I didn't see any concerts earlier on. So that was my only visual that I knew, seeing them move, up until.
It's really cool because that concert footage was shot at the Los Angeles Forum, which was where Alive 2 was supposedly recorded. But, we all know that a lot of Alive 2 was in the studio and, in Japan. But that was always one of my favorite specials. And when I was thinking about, I know we keep talking about The Greatest Show on Earth, but that was when I was doing The Greatest Show on Earth. That was the centerpiece to make it more than just songs, was that special, because I knew that was very cool. We lost somebody there, looks like.
Oh, you're muted, dude.
Dennis is still there. His video just disappeared.
I wonder why.
I don't know. Let's just keep going, and he'll pop back in.
Okay, cool. Sorry about that. Anyway, I completely lost my train of thought.
You were talking about. Well, you started talking about we were talking about the Land of Hype and Glory.
Yeah. So that was really the thing that kind of set that The Land of Hype and Glory was a cornerstone in presenting The Greatest Show on Earth as more than just songs one after another, because I wanted to make it something cool. I wanted to tell a story and this and that. So The Land of Hype and Glory was the one thing that helped me do that. So, starting on the next one, Kiss at Midnight, it was actually really funny. People asked me, as soon as they saw The Greatest Show on Earth, they go, "What's the next one? You got to do more. This is so cool." And I had no plans on doing another Kiss fan film because, I do this all myself, and it is illegal what I'm doing. Now, that's not to say that I'm going to have any legal backlash. At least I hope not. I mean, I'm certainly not selling it. I'm not distributing it. I'm not screening it anywhere. It's just up for streaming. And I did it just because there was a huge Star Wars base of Star Wars fan films. So I figured if Star Wars fans can do it, I can do it for Kiss. So, I'm doing this illegally, and I never intended on doing it again. I didn't want to take my shot with one and then do it again. But there was a lot of people said they loved it, and I just decided, maybe I will do something else. Maybe because it was so fun. It's like, maybe I'll do something else. So I was doing an interview on my show, Kiss My Collectibles with a K.com. I was doing a show on Kiss My Collectibles, and I was interviewing John Humphrey. And he had gotten this record called 13 Biographies. It was a radio show that Alison Steele put together, and it was 13 bands that she had interviewed and created these hour-long radio specials. Now, have you guys ever heard that radio special before?
No,
Negative.
That sounds pretty cool, though.
Of course you haven't, because I never had. But I kind of knew I've heard rumors that there might be another Alison Steele thing. I mean, we all have heard the Nightbird interview from '74, and then we've all seen her interview Kiss in San Francisco in '77, right on the beach. We've all seen both of those interviews. Well, we've seen the one and heard the other. So I said to him, I go, listen, send me that interview. I really want to hear it. So he sent it to me, and I'm sitting in my bedroom, and I'm listening to this, and I go, man, this is so cool because it's her telling the Kiss story. She's playing Kiss songs in there. And then there's interviews with Kiss that I had never heard before. And I'm listening to this, I go, man, some of this stuff would have been really cool to use in The Greatest Show on Earth. But then I was like, you know what, maybe I'll use this as the blueprint to make something else. Maybe I'll build a TV show style presentation around this radio show. I'll take some of her spoken words, I'll take the Kiss interviews, and I'll mix it in with concerts. So that was the first, once I heard that was the wheels finally turning in my head going, well, I could actually do this. I could do something. There was enough content there of her talking and enough interview footage of the band that I could make something else out of it. So it's an hour special, and I'm not even exaggerating one bit. I must have listened to it 100 times. 100, like just back to, and it would end, and I would listen to it again. And it would end, then I would listen to it again. And I did that because I wanted to pick out the parts of this that I could use, because there are some unusable parts. First of all, I knew I wanted to set this thing in 1976. So anything after Alive or anything Destroyer on, I didn't want to include. I wanted this to end at Kiss Alive, similar to how Alive is the first 3 records and Alive 2 is the next one. I didn't want to duplicate anything between the two things. Even though they were going to be two very different entities, I didn't want to duplicate anything. So first thing I did is that anything that they were talking about, anything Destroyer or post-Destroyer, I completely took that out. Then there were certain points where she would be talking over studio tracks or talking over the end of a solo or this and that. I had to immediately take most of that stuff out because I wouldn't be able to sync, if I was doing live footage to this. So I took out that, and I had the complete bare bones of what exactly I was going to use and how I was going to start building this. And once I knew I was going to start it in 76, I knew that I was going to go with these Cobo Hall shows. So it was almost a no-brainer at that point where to start.
How much of the footage off of that did you actually use? Off of the interview? How many minutes of that did you end up using?
I'm going to say maybe 5 to 10 minutes. 5 to 10 minutes. How long did it take
you to get that cut down?
A long time. Really a long time. Because remember, she's talking and there's things going on, so I had to cut stuff that was really great just because maybe I missed the first sentence of a paragraph and what she was saying didn't make any sense. So I had to make sure that whatever part that I was using made sense, and then not only did it make sense on its own in little parts, but once I strung it together it told a story and it made sense. Like she wasn't like just spewing hot air. So I had to have an introduction and I had to have an outro. So once I got done editing, the introduction was her basically talking over Strutter. I was like, I can't use this. I was like, I want to, but I can't use this. Number one, YouTube or whatever's going to pop me for using the studio version of Strutter. So I can't do that. So I took one little clip of the 1977 feature that she did where she introduced Kiss, and she actually mentions Kiss selling out Cobo Hall. So I go, well, this is perfect. So I used the introduction for the 77 show, then everything else came from this 13 biography show. And but like I said, it took me a really long time to get that down to where it needed to be and to be able to tell a story. So I'm assuming all three of you guys have watched it by this point now, right?
That is correct. I have.
At least I hope so. Okay.
Yeah, a couple of times. Yeah.
Okay, good. Just let me know if I'm going off here because I could talk forever about this stuff. So I knew that I didn't want to just take a night from Cobo Hall and just throw it up there and just have that be the feature. I wanted to do something cool. I wanted to create something. So I have the second night of Cobo Hall is on Kissology Volume 2. The first night of Cobo Hall is a bonus disc on Kissology Volume 1. So I had those two, and I go, well, I want a little more footage to choose from. So if you look back at all the official Kiss videos from the 90s, Kiss My Ass, Extreme Close-Up, Confidential, Exposed, all that stuff has I know what you're messaging me, that I spoke Kissology too, because, yeah. Okay. Sorry, just edit that out. Alan messaged me as I was talking, and I felt inclined to answer him. Anyway, so I had the first two nights from Kissology Volume 2, and then I went back to the 90s, and I grabbed all the stuff from those official Kiss videos. And all the stuff from the official Kiss videos mostly is from Cobo Hall Night 3. So in choosing the songs, I chose songs that I had footage from all three nights. That was from an officially released source. So that way nobody could come at me for using bootlegs, and nobody could say that I was releasing footage. So everything that I used is officially available that you can buy. And I want you to buy it. So if you like this and you want to see more footage like this, go out and buy all that stuff. You know, supporting the band is really going to help, well, number one, me not get sued, and number two, to be able to continue to do things like this. So after I had chosen all of the audio content that I wanted to use, it was time to make a cohesive concert piece. And I decided that I was going to use Night 2 as my audio. So I synced all three nights to the Night 2 audio, painstakingly so, to the point where you can't even tell that these are different nights. And once I synced everything to the Night 2 audio, then I went in and I cherry-picked what angles I wanted to use, what shots I wanted to use, what were the best things that I wanted to use. So as you're watching it, you don't even know that it's three nights that you're watching.
So it doesn't look like Paul's lip syncing then. You got it synced up that good.
man. Listen, no comment on that. But
I'm just teasing, man.
I know. It looks like, I mean, because all these professional concerts, even we were talking about the Kiss Symphony before we rolled. The Kiss Symphony is 2 nights together.
Right.
And you could, most people can't even tell. So I wanted to be an in-concert special, because I thought, how cool would it have been if you guys were turning on, NBC in 1976 and you saw this? You would have lost your mind, because there was no YouTube at that point.
You know what I thought was cool about tuning in is watching this in 1976?
Almost what?
Seeing David Cassidy in a Rice Krispies commercial.
I love that. That was my favorite part of the whole thing. It's like David Cassidy, man. It's like.
All right. So I'll talk about that a little bit, because when I was doing this and I wanted to make the 1976 TV special, I go, I got to use 76 TV commercials. And what was really cool about the 13 biography special is at certain points, Alison would say, we'll be right back after this. So I go, that's perfect for a commercial break. So I found 1976 commercials that weren't Kiss commercials. I didn't want to use Kiss commercials because I felt like that kind of cheapened everything. We know the Kiss had commercials in 76, so I didn't want to use any Kiss commercials. But I wanted to use other stuff that would take you back. Partridge Family, Arthur Treachers, and I even found Tom Snyder doing the New York local 1976 news brief.
I thought that was pretty slick.
Yeah, that's cool.
You know,
I thought the Treacher thing was pretty funny.
Yeah, I mean, and there's one of the, I found a Ford Mustang commercial that I didn't know which one I wanted to use. I didn't know if I wanted to use the Ford Mustang or the Arthur Treachers. So, I obviously stuck with the Arthur Treachers, but I wanted to create an experience. And, you know, there were no VCRs in 1976, at least not for mass consumption. So you had to watch those commercials. So I wanted to put those commercials back in. And you know, I don't have a ton of commercials and I only have 3. Because I didn't want it to take away from it. I wanted just to, oh hey, this is cool, and then, you know, get right back to the special. So the special probably is longer than it would have been in '76, but I think it's so cool. I think if you sit down, and I hope someone actually sits down and watches this in front of a CRT TV to really get the nostalgia of it and to really take you back into that time and watch it on there. But, you know, I don't have a CRT TV, but it's about recreating the feeling and how it was back then. Because now Kiss plays in Vancouver on a Thursday, and we're looking at the video footage sometimes live or sometimes the next night. Imagine what it would have been like. Because I estimate that based on editing time and based on things, that this probably would have aired in July of 1976. So imagine you've seen this in July 76, and imagine you're a New York City or a New York area person watching this in 76, and then going to see Kiss at Roosevelt Stadium in July 76. How cool would that have been?
Yeah, been real cool.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
I just can't imagine the amount of time it takes to put that thing together. I mean,
that's what I was just ready to ask.
Yeah, it's so intricate. I mean, so how much time was it total from beginning to end?
Beginning to end?
Yeah, from when you started with when you started cutting stuff and ripping the audio and that kind of stuff to where you've got it in a package that you can share with people.
All right, so I think I started this I probably started it probably in January of this year. So I started it in January, and I just finished it. Like the version that you guys have seen, there's just a couple little tweaks that I made after that, like just some font changes and some things in here and there. Nothing major. So I just finished it yesterday. So it was probably about 5 months of almost working on it every day.
Wow.
Couple hours every day, couple hours here. Because, I have a full-time job, so I work at my full-time job during the day, then I would come home and I'd edit this at night. So probably about 5 months. This is shorter than it took me to put together The Greatest Show on Earth because, well, number one, it is shorter in length. It's about half the length. But I didn't have to painstakingly sync, concert footage to a completely unrelated source of audio, which was Alive 2. So all the concerts, they sounded relatively the same. So the syncing process really wasn't as arduous as it appeared to be. I mean, the only thing that was really arduous was the color correcting process because you have 3 separate concerts, and the Kissology footage looked really similar to one another, so I didn't do much there. But like the stuff from those official videos where different equipment was used and different things were used, and I can tell that some of the stuff in the Kiss My Ass VHS tape, which is now the DVD, it was definitely rushed, and whatever was used to capture some footage was definitely dirty because there's a lot of smearing in that video footage. So the hardest part was once I chose the shots that I wanted to use was to make them look like they all matched. So I didn't want to take you out of the experience and you're seeing something where the black level is set at 1 and then you see something where everything looks gray. I didn't want that to happen because I wanted to all look like, hey, this all happened the same night. You guys don't know. So that took the most time, was that color correcting, to make everything look the same, make it all look the same, and look like it all happened at that time. So I was very, very lucky to have so much footage available for me to do this.
Cool.
What's the total running time?
The total running time, with everything that I'm including, like the beginning warning screens, the beginning mini trailer that would have aired on TV, and there's a couple things at the end. The total running time is 31 minutes. 31 minutes and like some seconds. So the version that you guys have seen is about, I think, 30 minutes and 40 seconds or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's what it said.
So, but like I said, I added a little something in the beginning, and then I tweaked something at the end. So nothing like what you guys have seen is basically what's going to be released. And I'm glad I mentioned that because it is going to be released June 28th. I don't know when this is going to air, but you can see Kiss at Midnight, June 28th. It'll be on YouTube and Vimeo.
Cool.
So I'm anxious because I've been doing a lot of these. I did Podcast Rock City. I've done podcasts. I'm basically hitting up all the shows to make sure I hit as many people as I can. But when I did podcasts, it hadn't been done at that point. So Ken was just like asking me questions. What did you guys think of it? Because you guys have all seen it. I'm anxious to know what you guys thought.
I liked it. I thought it was really good. I liked the the David Partridge. David Cassidy or Keith Partridge. There we go.
Keith Partridge. Good Lord, man.
No, there we go. But no, it was I really enjoyed it, and like I said, I thought the video was as clear as you're going to get. You picked the best stuff, and like you said, with the color correction, I didn't know that it was taken from 3 different nights.
That's good. Job well done.
No, it looked great. I mean, it was awesome.
Yeah, I didn't know who I thought the Alison Steele that added to it because it really seemed more like a news special to a degree. I thought that was pretty cool, and I didn't know I'd never heard of her. Didn't know anything about that stuff, but
really, you never heard of her?
No, I don't think so. I probably
wow.
I hadn't either actually.
Really, that blows my mind because I've been aware of her since seeing the Nightbird TV special from the 70s, from the old 77 Kiss Vision tapes where she interviewed Kiss on the beach. It's actually a video. She interviews Kiss without makeup, but it's only shot from their backs. So I knew who she was, and I knew she was a really, really popular late night DJ. And she won some awards, has a great voice. I mean, she passed away in the mid '90s.
I was just going to ask you if she was still around.
Yeah, she passed away. I mean, if she was still around at this point in time, I would find a way how to send this to her because even now more than ever, we need strong female role models like this. Someone who, at the time, it was basically a male-dominated world.
Oh, sure.
For her to come out and, I mean, she did stuff. She did some really cool stuff. I mean, she did a lot of poetry readings, a lot of playing entire sides of albums, and at the time, that was nobody did that, and certainly not a woman. So I've always been a huge fan of Alison Steele. I listen to a lot of her stuff, and like I said, she has another Kiss interview from '74, but she was intricate in the New York '70s rock scene.
Is that where she was based out of? That's New York?
Where she was based. I think she was on. I don't think it was PLJ. It might have been O&E, or it might have been NEW that she was on. I get all those New York City, radio stations mixed up. I listened to all of them as a kid, and I never could get the one straight. But look her up. I mean, Alison Steele, and yes, her name is spelled correctly. It was only one L. That's how her name is spelled. Because one of the people that I did show, they go, "You spelled Alison wrong." I go, "No, that's how she spelled it." But Alison Steele was great. Some of her stuff is still on YouTube, and she had a lot of great interviews, and she had a passion for this type of music. She called Kiss thunder rock, and I thought that was always cool. So she had Kiss on in '74, and it's really cool to hear Gene and Paul in 1974, kind of before anybody cared.
Well, because part of those they sound so young.
Yes.
When Gene, in the part where she's interviewing and Paul's talking about meeting Gene and this camaraderie they have or whatever and friendship they have or whatever. It just he sounds like he's 12. I mean,
he still sounds like a New Yorker.
He still sounds like a New Yorker. You're right.
I think he still sounds like a New Yorker now. I mean, if you get him in the right interview, he's still got that.
Right.
Kind of got that thing going, but I thought
like you though, Bill. I thought the same thing. I thought he was younger sounding. All of them sounded different than any other interview that I've ever heard before. But I'm saying though, but I had never heard interviews like that.
Yeah,
and I thought that they were completely different from the ones that we're used to hearing. How's that?
I completely agree with you. There's so these interviews, I'm estimating they were either late '76, early '77. Because at the end of the special, which I obviously didn't use, she's talking about Rock and Roll Over being the new album, and both Paul and Peter are talking about how they're excited to be playing Madison Square Garden. So they hadn't played Madison Square Garden yet at this point. And obviously that show happened February 18th, 1977. So, but if you think they sound young in this one, the original 1974 interviews are on YouTube, so you can go and check those out. Where her radio special was called The Nightbird, and that was her coin name.
Cool.
So you
Check
could
that
listen
out.
to those. And I think I bought in
Bill's getting his scribble stick out.
yeah,
I was saying.
in the late
Come
90s.
handy dandy notebook.
In the late 90s at some of the KISS conventions, I purchased the Kramer demo on CD, and as a bonus disc on that same CD after those 5 songs was the original Alison Steele radio interview.
So
And-
Alison with one L and Steele spelt just the same as normal.
Yeah, you
Okay,
got
thank
it.
you.
You got it. And it's a really cool. She does 2 interviews. She does one with crap, I can't remember how it breaks down. But there's one with I think Gene and Peter, then the other with Ace and Paul, or maybe I got them mixed up. But it's cool to hear Ace talk. It's cool to hear Gene talk, and Gene he's not the Gene Simmons that we know. She asks him a question, and at one point he goes, "Uh-huh," and that was his answer.
That's a first. That is a first. And last, probably.
Yeah. But the interviews that I used here for Kiss at Midnight, I had never heard them before. So they were obviously done either for something special or done for this in particular. And there are other bands out there that they did interviews for. There's this radio special. Then there's another radio special called A Rock and Roll Over with Kiss. Have you guys ever heard that one?
I've heard so many, I don't know the name of all of them.
I don't dig that deep. I needed to start digging.
Yeah.
I need to get a shovel,
dig deep.
man.
I don't even have a shovel either.
Yeah.
I got a spade.
The Rock and Roll Over with Kiss was a much more produced special where there was much more music involved. So I wasn't able to cherry pick or take anything away from that one. So everything that I use is from this 13 biography special. And there are obviously 12 other bands that she did them on. And one of the funniest things is she says that these 13 biographies are brought to you by the Tea Council of America. And she's talking about iced tea and hot tea throughout the whole special. So that's pretty fun. I obviously talk all that stuff out. That's pretty fun.
Sponsored by Lipton.
Yeah.
And it wasn't Lipton. She was like, iced tea comes in cans now, so you could bring iced tea anywhere you want. It was a trip, man. It was a trip listening to that.
That's crazy.
But again, all these interviews, they come from this special. And it was so cool to hear them that young, kind of before everything took over. And I know you're probably going to ask this. Why didn't I use an Ace interview? Ace wasn't on this interview. There was no Ace interview. None. He didn't say a word. And Peter said the most. I had to take down all the Peter stuff and get rid of it. So, they had Gene talking once in the beginning and much more later on, but there was literally not a word uttered by Ace.
Why'd you take the Peter stuff
that's
down?
not really surprising.
Yeah.
No.
There was so much of Peter. So it was tipping the scales. So not to say that he wasn't saying anything that was good, but there was so much of Peter.
You don't need that much Peter, Bill. You just don't need that much Peter.
Well, you're right, but I didn't want it. I wanted each guy to.
That was a
say,
dick joke.
I know. Oh, okay, I get you. I didn't need. I wanted
From one.
From
He
one.
noticed
yeah, okay.
it because it was him.
I wanted each guy to kind of have their own little spotlight. And excuse me, one of the reasons why I included She with that solo by Ace is because I didn't have anything else from Ace, and I wanted to give Ace the spotlight a little bit.
I thought it was cool the one part, I think it was near the beginning when he's playing the solo and she's talking about the band first coming together and that the 3 of them were together and they found the right how did she word it? She worded it some way. They found the right, it was talking about Ace, but he was the right,
probably the right ingredient.
Yeah, something like that. She used a different word and I was like, wow, that is right on. I mean, it was pretty cool. I think he did a great job, man. I think it's very enjoyable to watch. So,
I hope
people like it. So,
whenever you put the Alison Steele talk, whenever she started talking, it was like a TV show. Like whenever it got to a point where I'm really getting into the video, and Paul's getting ready to sing, it's like going, yeah, here he goes, and then Alison's like going, and Kiss is blah, blah, blah. I'm like going, oh, man, I wanted to hear what he's, because it was just what a TV show was back in the 70s, because that's the same shit they did.
You haven't heard Paul sing Strutter 150,000 times.
I know
anyway.
that, but you know what I'm saying, though? A TV show, when you're watching it, as soon as you really get into it,
especially
they do shit
back
like
in
that.
Those days, yeah.
Exactly. So, I have to give you up for, I have to give that up to you, Andrea, for that, because it was just like a 70s show. I was like going, fuck!
Well, no, so Andrew, how
you're saying?
So in the 70s, how old were you in the 70s?
I wasn't born.
That's what I thought.
I wasn't born at all. I mean, I'm born in 85. I was born in 85.
Wow. See, we would have been about 11 years old. Well, Bill and I would have been 10 and 11 at this time.
Yeah.
But I've watched so much, not just 70s Kiss stuff. I've listened to a lot of 70s music, watched a lot of 70s movies, watched a ton of 70s TV. So watching that stuff kind of seared it in my brain to be able to recreate what I have seen. This wasn't about using After Effects or using I got to do this here, I got to make this fireball here and make this thing. No, I wanted to make it look like it was a 70s. That's not to say to make it look crappy, because I don't think this looks crappy at one bit at all. But it looks like it looks like a professional videographer in the 70s put this together.
Okay, I have a 2-part question for you.
Okay.
And then I have another question kind of to add on to that.
Okay.
My 2-part question is, what was your favorite part of putting this together, and what was your least favorite part of putting it together? And the third question is did anything surprise you when you were putting this together?
Okay, good. Okay, I got a bunch of stories for all those questions. My least favorite part about putting it together is always the end, because you spend so much time doing this, and then you finish and you're like, well, I could be like George Lucas and be tinkering with this for the next 30 years, or I could finish it up. So that's my least favorite part, is I finish these things up, and I hate to compare it to this, but it's like sending your kid up to school or to college, or it's done. I've made this from this was literally nothing, and then now I've made it into something. So that's always, always, always my least favorite part, is finishing a project, because now I got to find something else to do. So that it always is. My favorite part, it's difficult because the editing process is always my favorite. So my favorite is telling that story and weaving in a story, because I could edit a concert in a night. That's not difficult. But telling a story through pictures and audio and video, telling a story, that's always the most fun for me. So that's, it's difficult to pick one favorite part. Actually, no, I'll tell you what my favorite part is. Adding those extra bomb sounds. That's my favorite part. Going through and picking different bomb sounds to, dub in over that, because the bombs, they sound okay on the regular video, but I wanted them to sound bigger, like someone was actually adding bomb sounds like they did on the Live or Live 2. So that's my favorite part. After that was done, adding in those bomb sounds. I'm sure you've heard them.
That's what I was going to ask you, because I was watching it actually 20 minutes before we got on, and it was like, do you feel right? I'm like, they didn't do that.
Yeah, I added in bombs and flame sounds.
So I was like going, okay, that answers my question. They're enhanced flames.
They are enhanced flames and enhanced bombs.
There you go.
So one of the things that I had included that I had to take out, because whenever Alison is talking or the band is talking, I obviously had to create video footage for that. And I didn't have a ton of interview footage where you couldn't see their mouths. I didn't have a ton of backstage footage that was available. So I had to get creative in how I was going to input all this information and input this story. So as you know, the first time Paul starts talking, he starts talking over Strutter. So when I first put this together, if you watch Strutter from Kissology Volume 1, there is a glitch in that first verse of Strutter, where there's like a second of the song missing, and the tape is a glitch. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So the good part about that is the first verse and the third verse are repeated. So the very first thing that I had to do is I took that little bit of the third verse and I seamlessly implanted it into the first verse. So that way you couldn't tell where the glitch was. And the easiest thing for me to do is I just wasn't going to use video from the second night. So the video that you're looking at of Strutter is from the first and third night. and I didn't use any video from the second night because it had that glitch in there. So I really, really wanted to include that in there so I could tell people, hey, look at how great I am. Look at what I did this. But, of course, it didn't fit. It didn't fit. I needed to get to the story quicker. So I used Strutter to lay under her talking and Paul talking. And so you're seeing them still performing and you're hearing them talking. And that's just because I didn't have any of the footage to put over that. So maybe I'll send you guys a clip of it so you can hear that it's literally, you can't tell. You cannot tell. And that was one of my worries because I didn't know what I was going to do at that point. I knew I wanted to use Strutter because I had it available from all 3 nights. So right then and there, that was on the checklist to use. I mean, the checklist was small. The checklist was if I have the songs from all 3 nights, I'm using them.
Right.
So, but again, once I started putting together where things were going to happen and what was going to go, I knew that I couldn't have the entire Strutter song go. And also it would have been longer than 30 minutes. So I knew that I had to trim that a little bit and start the story part in the middle of Strutter. So I do wish that I could have left that so someone could have heard that and be like, oh, someone finally fixed it. Because Kiss could have fixed it the same way that I did for Kissology. They could have just taken that little piece from the 3rd verse and just stick it right in there. And that's
I don't know that Tommy had those editing skills.
He must have because he edited the end part of Deuce, moved it to the beginning into Deuce on the Winterland concert.
Huh. There you
So go back and listen to that again because when you're listening to the intro of Deuce, you're actually listening to the outro of Deuce. You know that Paul guitar riff. That's not the intro because you could tell there's a different drum fill in the beginning than there is at the end. So go back and listen to that, and then listen to maybe an unofficial release of Winterland 75. So they did that on one concert, and furthermore, on the Madison Square Garden 77 bonus disc, they used the audio from Japan 77 and then faded it into the audio from Madison Square Garden 77. So they did some kooky shit in there. They just decided not to do that with Cobalt Hall.
Cool.
Which, by the way, if you can't tell, I'm not a fan of Kissology. Not at all.
Gotcha.
But it's kind of funny because it's very interesting how different people watch things different ways. I watch it as entertainment, and I'm like, yeah, it's cool. You guys are watching it for like, that's not right. And that really didn't happen there. That doesn't sound right. I'm like, yeah, it sounds great, man. It's just totally I'm
in Bill's club.
There are some of those videos I've seen so many times. It's like when they cut from one part to another, it's like a second ago Ace was on his knees and his flip backwards, and now he's standing up. Wow.
I did notice though in you're talking about Symphony, that disc set, there was whenever they're doing this and they do Great Expectations.
Yep, Gene's guitar switches.
Gene's makeup is just perfect. It's like he just came out of dressing room, and this is supposed to be mid whatever. So that's one. I caught that one, but I'm like Bill. I just sit back and kind of watch it.
I drive my wife crazy when we're watching regular TV because stupid things like that. I'll notice the clock on the wall in one scene while they're talking. It'll be 3:00, and then you flip back and they flip over to it again, and it's like 2:30. Wait a minute.
I noticed stuff like on television shows that are like when they go into when they're all sending in an MRI scanner with like oxygen bottles and shit like that. I'm like, you all are dead.
You can't do that.
Every freaking one of you are dead. I don't know what the hell that. Well, their patient's getting an MRI. Yeah, there's 5 of you in there, and you're all dead.
You know what I started noticing? I work in an office environment, and there's music going on all day. Some music I don't like, but what I do is I started listening. When you're listening to music, try to listen to when the singer takes a breath, and then when someone's using auto-tune, you'll notice that all the breath is gone. And once you train your ear to listen to that, you're like, oh man, I didn't hear them take a breath there, and you can totally hear it. It becomes totally apparent where you hear them go, where you hear them take a big breath before they start singing.
Right. If you want to have a song completely ruined for you, listen to Steve Miller's Jet Airliner. Man, that dude is gasping for breath all over that song.
It doesn't ruin it for me. I kind of welcome hearing the artist breathe. It lets you know that the song was real or was a real performance or several real performances. So I just started training my ear to listen to that stuff. But I'm an editor, so I'm looking at this stuff, and I want it to be edited in a way that, that could have happened. I didn't want to edit a song and, like you said, have Ace down on his knees in one shot, then him standing up in the other shot. I wanted it to look like, I wanted you to suspend disbelief and think that you were actually watching one complete show. And
you could do like Ace down on his knees, and then there's Tommy Thayer standing there, and then Ace is back on his knees again.
Yeah.
That'd be like that episode of Family Guy where you see Kiss playing on stage, and then for a brief second, Peter Criss has yellow hair, and then back to the black hair.
I remember that.
And Loose Lois, remember? And
he was like, Loose
Lois. But she didn't know the words to Rock and Roll All Night.
And have a really good
day.
Time.
Loose Lois. Anyway.
Well, do you have any final thoughts about your program there, Andrew?
Well, I just want to make sure everyone goes and check it out on June 28th when it is airing. I hope YouTube doesn't take me down. I don't think they're going to. But in case they do, it is going to be on YouTube and Vimeo at the exact same time. So anyone that wants to see it should be able to see it on June 28th. And what's really cool about this one is, I didn't know what was going to happen with Greatest Show on Earth, so I didn't promote it before it came out. I just kind of let it out there, and I told people to share it. And it got 30,000 views in 7 days. So I was really blown away by the reception for Greatest Show on Earth. And I'm hoping this does the same thing. And I'm hoping that, you guys being so generous and letting me come on and ramble for 30 or 40 minutes, I hope that gets a couple more hits. And I hope you guys share it when it actually comes out and it's actually live.
Oh, yeah.
Because this isn't about greed. This isn't about making money. This isn't about stealing music. This isn't about anything that bootleggers of the 90s and early 2000s were doing. This is about sharing something that was already officially released and creating something new, creating a different experience. That's what this is about. It's paying respect to Kiss, and my biggest inspiration for doing this is I love this band, and I want people to view this band the way that I do. So I'm hoping that some people look at this and they feel about Kiss the same way that I feel about Kiss. And again, if you love it, go and buy an official Kiss t-shirt. Go and buy Kiss Alive again. Go and buy Kissology if you don't have it, or maybe one of the other videos that I used. There is a list of the full videos I used at the end of the program. Cool. So go and buy that stuff and, support the band. That's what this is about. This isn't about me making money or me making a name for myself, although I do want Kiss to notice me and give me a job.
And do something besides call you Paul McCartney?
Yeah, besides call me Paul, that would be awesome. So I'm hoping that maybe this gets back to the band, and I'm hoping that we as a fan community can send a message to the band to let the band know that we want stuff like this and that we want to experience this band. So anyway, make sure you check me out on Kiss My Collectibles, Kiss Collecting Podcast, Collectibles with a K. And check me out. You can't add me on Facebook anymore because I hit the threshold of 5,000 friends yesterday. So sorry, I can't add anybody anymore. But you can follow my two groups, Kiss My Collectibles and Kiss My Wax. And I'm not sure what YouTube channel this is going to be on, but it's hopefully going to be everywhere. So I really, really hope you guys check it out, and I hope you guys enjoy it.
Thanks, man.
I'm sure they will.
We appreciate you coming on the show.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I really, really appreciate you not making fun of me to my face.
Oh, don't worry. Are you coming to the Rockin' Pod in Nashville?
It's funny. Ken asked me that when I did the podcast interview. I don't know yet. I do a lot of other traveling, and I'm trying to do non-Kiss traveling. Furthermore, I do have some traveling I have to do with Kiss and Gene Simmons' Moneybag Soda in September on the second leg of the tour. So it just all depends if everything lines up correctly with work, and I can't be away too much at this point in time. So it's not a no. It's not a no. And if we do go, I know I've talked to Joe Lalich and Jason about going, and if we do go, we're just going to go as fans and not have a table. So maybe. It's a hard maybe. It's a hard maybe.
Okay, well, if you are there, that's when we'll make sure to make fun of you straight to your
face.
I
welcome that, because that was my favorite part of the Atlanta Kiss Expo, when we were just, shooting the shit and just having fun. I mean, that's what this stuff is about. So I would love if one of these expos wants to show one of my little films. They probably can't, but I would love if they did.
I would think we probably could.
I think Chris could. Yeah, talk to him.
Yeah, I think I'm set to do his show next. I'm trying to hit all of them, except there's one with sometimes 4 people that is named after maybe a song. I don't really know. They're the only ones that won't want to have me on.
I wouldn't lose any sleep over that.
Oh, I sleep like a baby.
Yeah. All right, man.
All right,
well,
man.
Thanks again for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it, and I hope you guys enjoy Kiss at Midnight, June 28th. Don't miss it.
Peace out, folks.
See ya.
Thanks for listening to the Ages of Rock podcast. If you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, and most importantly, tell all your friends. Remember, you're never too old to rock. Until the next episode, peace out, folks.